Okay, AIs Hit for February 2025. It's been a long time I haven't done an AIs Hit. We had the haikus, and now I'm going to something really kind of more concrete, models. And I'm going to show some works from last month based on one platform, which is not as known as many others that generates images, which is Alias Studio. And I built a few. It's a platform where you build your own stylistic AI. It's kind of a meta AI in my definition, where you give it the material and it trains itself to imitate your works, sculpture, photographs, drawings. And yeah, so I basically did a few profiles. It's a super interesting platform, and I think the results are quite interesting. This first alias, I'll put the link down, or you'll find me on the platform with those different aliases. That's how they name them. And this Dead Salad and Gold Mojo, that's a conceptual experiment. I was trying to build, it's not the first model I created for the platform. I tried to trick the platform into doing something interesting where it really kind of hallucinates in its training. It's based actually on a collection, on a quarta of photographs I took of dried remains of salad and reflective gold cardboards. I'm not going to use the training data, but yeah, I wanted to show that with some stuff that's really hard to comprehend, that AI will try to maybe understand something that's not really in it and give some really interesting results. And I really like the results from this model. As you can see with those pictures, when you prompt it, it will actually try to imitate the style, try to do something that's really according to what you gave it. So you will actually it will give you some indication. It's kind of like reverse engineering. It gives me some indication on the pre-trained data from my training, because that's why I define it as a meta AI. It has to understand the world, and it's got already a pre-trained model. If you go on the platform, you have all the information, and I will probably do an episode just on that. But here, basically, I was asking for a rabbit coming out of a cake. And that's what it gave me. So it's kind of, you have all this red splattering, kind of bloody. I know that it's trying to represent the golden cardboard as the background. That's how it understood it. It is kind of true according to the data I gave it. But then it's kind of creating a lot of stuff. It's the photos, none of the photos are really figurative. And here, for example, I love that photo. It kind of looks like a skater. But at the same time, it's kind of, the members are kind of weird. There seems to be like splattering of red a little bit all over, and those bandages. It's super weird, but it's really nice. And I find it kind of scary, and I kind of like the results because you never really know what to expect. Most of the time, you will get those really nice, less photograph looking, less video game looking images, which can be really nice. I really like the results. And yeah, you get some really weird stuff if you put the adequate prompts. But I thought the model was mature because the results were artistically pleasing and worked consistently enough. I have other works for the next month that I will show you where it's really super consistent. Sufficiently consistent to propose it. So here are again some examples of what came out of it. You often have those bloody stains a little bit everywhere. It kind of looks weird, or those golden yellowish backgrounds. But kind of a very weird. Here again, one of those more abstract compositions from the AI. Yeah, those weird stains that kind of look good, but kind of creepy. Anyhow, and in the picture down left, you can also give some photographic material to the AI, and it will transform it into the style. That was a picture. If you follow my series, surreal series of video, I showed that's in a nightclub in Reykjavik. The picture down left. So it actually tried to imitate my style of that series and transform the original picture. So it preserved kind of the subject and most of the content. I found that really interesting. Another model I created with this platform was the Camare Square Might CCD artifact. Actually, for those who follow my Matinum series, video series, I talk about computational photography and all the models I made for my apps. And here I decided to give this AI a training based on a collection, a quarta of photography that were made using the Square Insaturator and the Might CCD Filmator. Those who use my apps or follow the series will know what I'm talking about. And basically see what comes out. And it really emphasizes, as we can see here, the matière numérique, the digital matter underlying the computational photography process. Kind of how would you say? It's kind of a parallel process. It could be seen as a compression process to make files smaller. It's just a digital transformation, which I artistically decided to do in a certain way. And here AI is trying to understand what I wanted to do. And it's really interesting because depending on the prompt and the intensity of the style that you put into it, you will get a complete loss. You will lose completely your subject, the prompt subject, but you will get some really interesting things. So you will get those really very strongly abstract images, or you will have those you see the aliasing, very grainy, very lined, improved, lined, emphasized images. I don't know how to say. As we can see on this, better quality image of this sheep, you actually see the textures that the AI is trying to put in place to represent that training. But most of the time, you will really have something very abstract, even figures that you will ask for a man walking in the mists in a foggy morning, and you'll get those weird, very minimalistic images, or a man with a butterfly. And sometimes you will just get some artifact and the pattern of the process, the computational process I actually programmed for the modules, the creative modules of my apps. I thought it was interesting to see how AI understands my conception of computational photography. Here again, it's trying to make something. You have the glitches, you have a lot of things coming out. Here I put twice the same photo, sorry about that, but you really see those patterns coming out behind. It's trying to draw the pixels in larger because the material I gave it to train really emphasizes the digital matter. So it's super interesting to see how it understands my photographic techniques, computational photographic techniques. Here again, a portrait going through. Going to another module, still same platform. I'm only going to speak about that platform today. I have this really interesting, I believe, photo collection from a project from 2007, actually that started in 2006, the Booty Machine. It's an online collective project that was pre-iPhone, actually, pre-smartphonography, and pre-AI, mostly pre-AI scraping. We were expecting AI tools to start really scraping information once the computational power would be there and the companies be sufficiently focused on it. So actually here it's a collection of photos I did, which goes through computational photography, which are distributed online in social platforms that was custom built, which is still there. You can find it on my website through the Booty Machine menus. And basically this collection of images, I just gave it because there was a very specific computational photography transformation of the images coming out of those photo phones of the time. That was a Sony Ericsson phone. 2 megapixel pictures really downgraded and transformed through my computational photography algorithms. And here the AI learned pretty well. It really kind of looks like what I did at the time. And yeah, here are a few of the results. The picture top left, it's actually the self-portrait of, well, the portrait of me that's used for more official works. I think that's the picture that's used for the Geneva Photo Festival team. Anyhow, I don't look like that. I do look like that, but that's how AI transformed it according to my AI training. So it was funny. And the other is really a very homogeneous styling of the picture. So here the AI really understood well. It was based on 367 images because it was one photo a day for a year for this part of the Booty Machine project. And yeah, you get here, the subject is really the prompt, goes through it, and it really renders something that's very similar. And that project was actually, as I was saying before, it's a pre-scraping project. So all of the images exist in the analog digital world, on the non-online world, we'll say it like this, without the caption, but everything was put there with the caption clearly visible because that was the presumption that AI would scrape it and understand this set as having those orange characters. And so here it's a recreation, it's an artificial lab-like training on this sole set quarta of images, but I think it's interesting to see how it understood this captioning. The font is almost there. It's putting it pretty systematically. You get some really weird stuff once in a while, but the treatment is very similar to my original algorithms. And yeah, I'll be talking about all those research elements separately in the future. Here, that's another module, another training I made that's based on my matière numérique project, which is not finished yet. You can reach it by going online and type matnu.me as a URL. It will bring you to there's only the Instagram profile actually available now. It's a few thousands of images where I actually start by. It's a recursive project on the meaning of a black pixel. There's more on the website talking about that, and I'll be, as I said before, talking more in detail of all those projects. But I basically recursively take pictures. I start with a black pixel, 1 pixel by 1 pixel, and I try to show that every time you have the process of taking a picture of something, you create artifacts, and if you dilute it like you would with a substance, like homeopathically, after a few thousands of pictures, you still have something, and you have still matter, and that's the matière numérique. And here, giving it a quart, I didn't give everything, because the project's not finished, obviously, but I got this weird thing with gold, and so, but I really liked it. I thought it was pretty. It was pretty homogeneous and made sense to show how AI could interpret something very abstract. There's only abstract pictures in the Matnum project. And as you can see here, when you prompt it, it will put stuff almost like in galleries and do some almost include hyper-realistic elements. The rabbit's really good. The portrait is kind of weird. It's kind of plasticky, but it works pretty well, like the sheep in this frame. So it kind of understood maybe the conceptual part of the project. And then it goes with patterns. Many times it will go with patterns, like you see here. So it will be close to the original project. So it's a really nice training. But I really liked the way it understood in this data set that there were spaces. Yeah, strange. And I really like those pictures. For example, this helicopter with the car. I forgot what the prompt is, but not very important. You can go experiment with the module if you want yourself. But I thought the result was interesting to see how AI will interpret a set of data which is very well defined by me and very well controlled in the way I curated it for the AI training. And you get something completely different. Totally interesting, but different, and aesthetically, I think, pleasing. But yeah, again, a few examples. I really enjoy this platform. Here again, some rabbits. You can see actually the artifacts from the underlying real world model used for the creation of the subjects from the prompt. You have those multiple limbs and fingers, but yeah, very interesting result. I still have two models to show you here based on my computational photography apps. For those who follow the Matinum video series or use my apps, the Camare application and the set of compatible applications of photo apps can use QR codes to exchange their settings. I thought it was a really good way of experimenting with AI, understanding one way of representing a preset of a photograph of something real. I will again go in more details in a separate video in the future. But yeah, I wanted to see if I gave it a set of those preset cards I use for my apps and my computational photo engine, what it would understand. And when you prompt it, that's what you get. And you get some really interesting stuff in my opinion, because not only it's trying to understand the meaning of this QR code in a very graphical way, it really integrates it into the picture. Same for the font, which is my custom made font. It has been for many years for all my projects online. It's the one from my websites and for my videos that you know well. It's actually it's understanding it pretty well. I mean the feeling, but then it mixes everything up, and it's kind of weird how it can be like drawings, very hyper realistic in some cases, very abstract in others. Here, not very realistic. It almost looks like collage. It doesn't really understand, in my opinion, what's QR codes, what's font, and this very geometric font, and images, photorealistic images. But the mix is really interesting. Here again, some more examples. So really, it navigates between representing in black and white this helicopter for whatever reason, kind of more grayscale-y, this sort of weird lawnmower underneath, or hyper-realistically this plastic model, humanoid model below. Or, for example, the sheep. I'm not talking about the prompts today, but the sheep was, I think I asked for a flying sheep in the sky, and that's what it did. So very interesting model, in my opinion. And that's the last model I'm going to show with this platform today. I wanted to go for a little bit further, and here the curation is very different. I used the project from the pre-web era, where with Matthias Chop, we had a collaborative work where we did some drawings and that were distributed on BBSs, just at the junction between, it was 1995 and 1996. It was just at the junction between BBSs and the web. The web was really starting. But the BBSs were still popular, and we had this popular, all proportions preserved. It was not the internet was not used as much as it is today, of course, but that was really the transition, and those works were on both. And that was a Dr. Bad Taste's office. We were drawing some weird, jokey like drawings. Anyways, but I transformed the original material for that model, and I wanted to show how pixelation, how errors, how hallucinations, how the loss of the inherent quality through time. It's almost 30 years. It's basically 30 years ago. How years can have an impact on digital photography and the data sets, and the training data is going to be distorted because we are losing some of the quality and the inherent granularity of the original material, real life material, real world material, and how not all data is actually usable to train models, because it's the digitization process. The digitization is at loss, always at loss for now. You don't have many aspects of the older world, and with time also the compression algorithms, the way we decode changes, and that's the result. So anyways, here are a few examples of what it gives. Makes kind of pixelated stuff where you still see some images, some parts of the images, understand what's going on, and it's really in the style of what we used to do 30 years ago. And we're distributing, experimentally distributing all over. So yeah, that's just for the fun. I thought was interesting to see how this came out. And yeah, I'll be talking a bit more in detail of all those projects in the future. But for now, I hope it was entertaining. That it wants you to go check that platform. It's still in beta form, so go check alias.studio. And yeah, if you have questions, comments, suggestions, don't hesitate. And yeah, catch you next time.